AITA for not telling my girlfriend I'm bisexual. Okay, this is ridiculous, but she has explicitly asked me to ask the internet because she's convinced she's in the right. So my GF, 24F, and I, 21M, were talking about school and our childhoods a few days ago. I originally lived in England, but she's always been a Scotland girl, so we were comparing. I was showing her pictures of me and my mates from when we were 16-17, and she noticed that me and one of my friends seemed a little close in some of the pictures, even noticed that I was sitting in his lap in one of them. So she asked me and I just flat out told her, that's my ex, because it didn't seem like a big deal to me. It still doesn't. She got a bit annoyed then and asked me why I hadn't told her about this before. I assumed that this she was talking about was my ex, and I said that I hadn't really thought about him in a while because we were teenagers and I've moved away since then. She got more annoyed then and said, not that, I mean that you like guys. I got kind of confused then because it's not something I hid from her. She's right, I've never explicitly told her that I'm bi, but I have pins of the flag on several bags. We thirst over male celebrities together. Hell, the night we met I was flirting with her male friend at a pub. This was lighthearted and before we were dating obviously. So anyway, I apologized for not telling her and asked what the big deal was. She's not homophobic by any means, and I didn't understand why she was getting so angry. I told her as such, and she stared at me blankly, appalled, as if I should know. She said didn't like being lied to, which I didn't. She never asked and it never came up. But okay, I get why she was upset at that. It could be seen as hurtful and she's sensitive, we both are, so I understood and apologized. She then said that she couldn't believe I had ever been with a guy and that it was weird. I asked her why it was weird, said that I've seen pictures with her and her exes and that I was okay with it, and she said the ex thing didn't bother her, it's that my ex was a guy. This baffles me more, because again, she's not homophobic, at least I didn't think she was. She asked if I ever thought I was just gay and not bi and I said no, said that I liked girls before I ever knew I liked guys. She said to me she didn't really believe in bisexuality, said that it wasn't a good look for the community or something along those lines. I said well I am one, so here's the proof. The argument basically went round in circles at that point until we went to bed. We have really spoken properly since. Whenever I try she interrupts me and tells me that she can't believe I was gay before her and lied about it, which again, not gay, I'm bi, I like girls, I like her. It's so frustrating to me because she won't even hear me out and just tells me she feel betrayed that I lied to her and she thinks I'm just dating her because I don't want to fully commit to being gay. She hasn't broken up with me as of yet, but I feel like she's going to if we keep arguing like this and she won't let me get a word in. So AITA? Edit. Okay, nothing has happened with the situation because it's the middle of the night and I posted this a few hours ago, but this seems to have blown up a little bit, so I'm going to clarify and clear things up a bit. First of all, those people who think I'm going to give my GF an STD or are convinced I have AIDS or whatever, fuck off. Genuinely. I'm sorry I don't like being mean to people, even over the internet, but far too many of you seem to have this thought. First of all, my GF insisted we both take STI tests before we did anything because she got one from a previous partner and doesn't want that to happen again. Second of all of you convinced that slept around with men and contracted some deadly virus. I have never had traditional sex with a guy. The only guy I've ever been with was first relationship with said ex mentioned in the post, and my only other relationship has been with the woman who took my virginity, which the relationship only lasted a month. So stop. Now to clarify some important things. Yes. I know I should have mentioned I was bisexual to her once we started dating, but truthfully, it didn't even occur to me to. I'm a little airheaded and thoughtless. I'm not very good at communicating with people in general and can be quite thoughtless and annoying. Most of my friends back home are queer and a lot of hers are too, from what they all said when I met them for the first time. I've also been told that you can tell I'm bisexual by a lot of people including my own parents. So with all that, it completely didn't occur to me to tell her. I do know though that that isn't really an excuse and that I should have told her immediately in the pursuit of transparency. I am working on my communication skill and knowing when to be more mindful and mention things even if they don't seem important to me. I wasn't trying to hide it, and I wasn't trying to make her guess by leaving little hints here and there. I thought it was obvious so I didn't mention it. Clearly it wasn't and I need to be more mindful. I would never lie to her on purpose to be malicious. You don't do that to people you love. I've been with my GF for almost 6 months. The reason this didn't come up in the beginning of our relationship is because it was quite a whirlwind in the beginning. As in we met in December and 4 days later she began a week stay at my flat, so we moved quite fast. My girlfriend attends university close by as well as having a job, so we maybe get to see each other over the weekend or maybe a Friday day night, but that's about it. So I like making the most of my time with her so we don't talk about serious stuff all that much. People thinking that I'm going to cheat on her / think that she thinks I'm gonna cheat on her. I hope I've made it clear to her that that isn't something that would happen. I love and adore her so much that it physically hurts when I don't get to see her for over a week. I'm not interested in being with anyone else sexually at all because I'm not in love with anyone other than her. The majority of these comments are calling her homophobic/biphobic and, well, I don't really know what to think about that right now. I need to talk to her properly. She's a very emotional person, which is something I absolutely adore about her, but it does mean when she's angry she lashes out. I need to talk to her about it all, and I need to talk to her friends. I'm not throwing this away if she was just lashing out or being ignorant. She's not an unreasonable person. She only knows about my most recent ex because she was asking about a scar on my forehead and I told her the story, which included her. Yes, she does love me and doesn't care about my sex drive or lack thereof. She's not manipulative or gaslighting me, she just lets me know when I've done things wrong, which I like because no one else ever tells when I've done things wrong. I'm bisexual. I'm not gay. She's not a beard. I like guys. I like girls. I love her. If I missed anything, it's because it's 3 a.m. and I'm tired. If you want further clarification, comment and I'll try to answer. Update. Okay, wow. I didn't think this would get a lot of attention, but it has, so I figured I'd let everyone know what's going on. This is quite long, so I apologize. I'll put a TLDR at the end for people who don't really care that much. I posted my initial post on Friday night. I hadn't seen or heard from my GF since Tuesday. I sent her the link to this post on Saturday afternoon and told her that once she felt ready, I would like it if she came over so we could talk about it in person. About 3 hours later she was at my flat. She hadn't eaten and it was late, so I cooked and we ate in silence. She didn't really look mad, but she obviously wasn't very happy. Once we'd finished and I'd cleaned up, she told me that she's sorry she has ignored me for 4 days. I told her that it was fine and that she didn't need to apologize as she clearly needed space. I decided to bite the bullet and just get into it. I apologized for not telling her properly this time. I told her that I shouldn't have assumed she'd just be okay with it because I expected her to. I told her that even if I don't think it's a big deal or that it didn't even cross my mind that I had to tell her, I understood that it was clearly dishonest of me and that I don't really have good excuse of why I didn't. I try to never lie to her, especially about important things, and whilst I don't see it as lying, I now do see that it could be interpreted as that or that I've got things to hide. I told her as such and she told me to stop apologizing. She explained that she'd read my post as well as the comments. I asked what she thought about it. She was quiet for a minute before she told me that she didn't like people calling her homophobic, and that she didn't think she was being that, she just didn't understand how a person could be bisexual. I tried to stay calm cause I could see she was overthinking and getting upset. I told her that I don't think she's homophobic either, not as a whole, anyway, and then I tried to explain it to her simply. I didn't want her to think I was speaking to her like a child, or that I was being condescending, but I did have to use simple terms to make sure there was absolutely no room for misinterpretation. I asked her, but you understand how guys can like girls, and how girls can like guys? And she said yes. I then asked, do you also understand how a woman could like another woman, or how a guy could like another guy? And she said yes again. I asked her then why she didn't think it could be possible to like girls as well as guys. She didn't really say anything and I could see the cogs turning in her head. She said that she couldn't see how you could like both, how humans are hardwired to only like one gender, and so if I was saying that I liked guys first, and, by her logic, I could only be attracted to one gender, then I must be gay. I was very confused because I'm not a scientist by any means, but I definitely know that that isn't true. I asked where she'd heard that. She told me an old friend who she met at her old job was a major LGBTQ activist and was explaining things to her. I told her that's not right. She told me it was. I asked what possible evidence she could have for that. She didn't have any, but she said that this friend was deep into the queer community, sexuality. I didn't ask, and that I'm not really involved, so she's more inclined to believe this old friend rather than me. I was hurt, of course, really hurt that she'd say this, but I couldn't get mad, cause then we'd both be mad and upset, and we'd be in exactly the same place we were 5 days ago. So I decided to change tactics. I asked her that if I've had a boyfriend, and if I'm not secretive about liking guys, why on earth would I be dating her? I told her that me admitting that I like guys clearly shows that expressing that kind of attraction wasn't an issue for me, so why would I be using her as a cover, and what would be the point of using her as a cover if I was gay first? She told me it's because I was embarrassed. I asked her about what. She said that you like guys. I told her I'm not embarrassed. I asked her if I looked embarrassed at any point on the day all this went down. I asked her if I looked embarrassed now. She, reluctantly, said no. So, I asked her again. I asked her why I would agree to, and actively pursue, dating her if I wasn't attracted to girls. She got mad at this point, but I eventually managed to calm her down again. We took a breather, I went to my room and she went to my balcony, and when we reconvened back in the living room, she asked why I was dating her. I told her because I love her, that's why. I told her that I thought she was funny, and smart, and gorgeous, and that she had so much life in her that I found it a privilege to even be near her, let alone to date her. She told me she believed me, but she still didn't understand. She asked if it was a phase then, in school, and I told her no. I said to her plainly, I'm attracted to girls, and I'm attracted to guys. She asked me if this meant I wanted to date a guy then instead of her. I told her no. She asked if I wanted to date a guys as well as her and, again, I said no. She asked why I was so determined to be acknowledged as bisexual then. I told her because it's a fact about me, just like that I love books and the color purple, and that I hate the smell of grape-scented felt tips. I told her those were all facts about me too, but they didn't affect our relationship, so neither should this one. I asked why it bothered her so much, beside the whole not believing in my sexuality thing. I said, I know it's more than that because you wouldn't have gotten so angry if it was just that. She explained that she thought me telling her was my way of hinting I was going to break up with her. I laughed and asked in what world that would make sense. I had told her because she asked, and that if I was going to break up with her, which wasn't going to happen, then I would have just done it and not been cruel about it or dragged it out. She said that she thought me saying I was bisexual, and her not thinking it was a real thing, was me trying to take the easy way out, so she got mad. It was almost 2 a.m. on Sunday by the time we got to this point, so we decided to stop and carry on in the morning. When I woke up I was worried and trying to prepare my points in my head, like I do before I say anything important, but I didn't really have to. My GF walked back into the bedroom with 2 mugs. She made me sit up and handed it to me with the promise that she could speak first. I nodded and took the mug. She sat next to me and said that she didn't sleep well, that she couldn't stop thinking about everything. She said she still didn't understand, not really, but that she loves me, and she knows that I love her, and that she's going to try and understand, because she didn't want to lose me or what we have, and that she doesn't like to be ignorant. I thanked her and said I'd send her some resources, so if you guys have any that explain bisexuality or anything in that vein, then please link them. We agreed that we would try and push past this, and that we would make sure to tell each other everything from now on, no matter whether it seems important or not. She's taking counseling at her university to try and manage her anger and controlling her emotions. That's the end of it for now. We're obviously still in rocky waters, and if anything else happens and people want me to update then I will, but I think that's basically all of it. Our talk on Sunday morning was long, but I summed it up as this post is very long already. Also, for people asking me to ask her friends about if they knew about this behavior, I asked her one friend whose number I have, and she said that it wasn't an issue a few years ago, but she suddenly started asking about it around the same time she had met that girl from her old job. Apparently everyone in the friend group had called her stupid or something for believing that, but that was all that really happened. I've asked about who this old coworker is, but I haven't got a reply yet. Okay, thanks everyone, smiley face.